Hello and welcome to the channel. You are joining me on a very still, very peaceful day in the South Wales valleys. We've parked up at Pen-y-fan Pond, which is looking about as dry as I've ever seen it. It has been a very dry and hot summer here in South Wales, as it has around a lot of the UK. So I decided to do a walk, which I've done little bits of before, which was normally in winter time when it's really, really wet. But I figured there's never got to be a better time to explore this area with nice dry conditions underfoot. So we're going to attempt to walk this pretty much circular. We're going to try and follow a valley down from this hill alongside a stream which may or may not be dry. Then we're going to walk across the bottom of the valley for a little bit and try and pick up a different valley up with a different stream, which again may or may not be dry, back up to the top of the hill, which is going to be Mynydd Pen-y-fan, which is on the miners list. Good hill, great views. So I've kind of walked up to the hill before, but today we're going to do a circular walk that explores lots of areas I've not been on before. So I have no idea if the footpaths are going to exist. If they do exist, what kind of condition they're going to be in. But I'm hoping I'll get some new views, see some new things, and enjoy a reasonably gentle circular walk. But I suspect there's going to be a decent chunk of ascent because we're going to go back down to the valley floor and then back up again. Never a fan of cows. I don't trust them at all, but hopefully they're going to stay over there and leave me alone. Sound of a buzzard up in the sky. We're getting towards the bottom of the valley now. Very pretty Welsh valleys views, and I'm hoping that I can avoid these cows and find a way out of this field as well. The footpath has been pretty solid so far. One section disappeared, but there's a big bridleway going back to the road, so that was fine. But apparently there's some kind of gate at the bottom of this field, and I've got to go down a sharp, steep bit to a barbed wire fence and see if it actually exists or not. And that's always the risk with this kind of route. Plan an OS maps and sometimes the footpaths just completely disappear, and I've got a load of cows staring at me, which I'm not a big fan of. Slightly unclear as to where I should be going now. I've got myself fenced off with some brand new barbed wire fencing, 2 layers. A few little paths around here and some more cows, but I want to be going in the complete opposite direction to what I'm walking in now. This is the right direction, but it doesn't look particularly promising as I've got to scramble through the overgrowth already. Cows doing an impression of Jurassic Park. This looks more promising because I think it is an old rail or tram line. So there's a lot of mine workings around here. So hopefully this will get us to somewhere where we can take a little bit of a right turn and head towards the next part. We need to turn a right back up to the hill again. Can't quite see on the camera, but it's a very steep drop a long way down to the very bottom of this valley. So thankfully we're taking a path that is quite a long way up, so it should make the ascent back up much more pleasant than dropping right the way down to the bottom. And you can see on the floor here lots of old big wood sleepers, so I assume this was an old railway line. So you can see how overgrown the old railway line is, but if it wasn't here, I'm sure this would be completely impassable. But the fact that there is rock and sleeper foundation does prevent the worst of the overgrowth building up and does provide a nice level place to walk on. So this, with the groove I'm walking now, I think it must be fairly well walked to be this clear. So hopefully it's going to continue that way and we will spot an obvious turning right, because otherwise we could follow this for many, many miles and be completely in the middle of nowhere. So it must have been a substantial railway at some point. Very impressive old stone and iron bridge. We've come off the old railway line now. You can see it continues along the bridge and up that way. We've come down this little bit of road and there's a very steep drop, substantial drop to the left and another one to the right. So it's an impressive old railway, and I'm hoping that this path here is going to exist and that we can follow it up. You can see from the damage there that it's old tarmac and concrete bits of road that's now completely fallen away to rubble. So it's been an interesting and varied walk so far. Again, highlighting what you get when you walk in the South Wales Valley. So you're always going to come across some kind of industrial heritage, sometimes more, sometimes less. With the old railway line and the buildings around there, we've passed some substantial quarries and old mines. And this is really tough to walk on. But hopefully this track will lead us back up to the sort of ridge around the hill. Then we can cut south to the trig point on Mynydd Pen-y-fan. And yeah, at least it's not overgrown and wade through ferns. But I have bought myself in this little pocket a set of ultralight secateurs because I was so fed up of getting cut to pieces on my walks from massively overgrown paths. I thought I'd buy a set and always have them with me. So I've not used them yet. Today's not quite been bad enough, but I'm glad I bought them just in case. Basically, we just walked right the way down to near the bottom of that valley. And now we're coming up the other side. So here we have the perils of walking in South Wales valleys. Got a footpath sign there, and it's actually the Sahai Valley Walk, this little section. And we've got a nice big post there pointing to where the footpath goes. And yet the reality is it's almost impossible to see where the footpath goes or whether it improves slightly further on, and there's just a little bit of overgrowth at the start. And this is actually on the OS maps marked as being a lane. So not even just a footpath, an actual lane. And it's this badly overgrown. So because I hate turning back and taking alternative routes, I'm going to see if I can make it for a little bit, but just I can see there's absolutely tons of stinging nettles in there as well. No, I made it a little way in, but I'm giving up. I'm going to go on up the road. There's another footpath marked up there. Failing that, I can just walk the road and follow the road back. It's a much longer way, but that's just absolutely impassable. So very, very frustrating. Because I keep getting stopped by overgrown footpaths, I've actually been looking into what you can do to sort them out. Now, obviously, you can report them to the council, which is what you should do, and it's their responsibility to come out and talk to the landowner and arrange for the footpaths to be cleared. But I'm not sure how quick and effective that is in Caerphilly because all counts have been massively cut, so I imagine footpaths are probably one of the lowest things on their agenda when they've got lots more statutory pressures to face. But I thought about actually what could I carry with me to clear them. So I thought about getting like electric strimmer, because I got some Makita power tools at home and I got 3 big batteries which you could just use for a strimmer and do that. But as I was reading up on it, you could be prosecuted for criminal damage if you went out and cleared someone's land like that, even if it is a public right of way. Only thing you can legally do is carry a set of secateurs, and you can clear enough of the pathway for yourself to make progress. You can't spend hours like cutting the whole footpath back, but you can cut enough to give yourself onward access on the footpath, which is what I tried to do then, but I would have been there possibly for 7 or 8 hours because it's a long section. If it was all like that, I mean, it just wouldn't be possible really without getting absolutely stung to death in the process. So yeah, I'm not carrying an electric strimmer on me, I'm just carrying some secateurs. If I had a strimmer, I possibly could have made it, but even with 3 heavy batteries, I'm not sure how far I would have got through that massive jungle. And slightly more annoying because that is actually part of the Sahawi Valley Walk, which is a walk from Newport to just above Tredegar and Ebervale. And I've done most of it in different sections. Very pleasant walk a lot of the time. But even named routes now are very neglected in the South Wales valleys, poorly signposted at times, or things like that, just routes are just completely overgrown. And I guess really it's because not many people walk them. And it's not just not people walk them, not many people actually walk in general. It's a Saturday, it's a perfectly pleasant day, nice temperature for walking, very still, reasonably nice skies. But people just doing other things, I guess, in retail parks, buying stuff they can't afford and that they don't need, just mindless consumerism and stuff. But I guess walking's not for everybody, but it is frustrating sometimes that not enough people come out to these areas to keep the footpaths clear. And especially this time of year, overgrowth grows so quickly that these things just disappear in a matter of weeks. Well, the next footpath actually exists, and it's got some lovely views south of some nice little hills, and it's through some very pleasant fields, and actually had proper gates and everything. It's not been very well signposted, but it does actually exist, and it's been nice easy walking. The only slight dodgy thing again is a few cows knocking about, but back into a field of sheep now. And it's had these big metal turnstile type gates to go through, which is very Victorian. It's been done 4.25 miles now. It's been a really interesting walk, lots of very different and varied spaces and stuff. As to be expected, it's kind of walk, I've not seen a single person on it. Even the section that looked well walked, didn't see or hear anybody. So where I parked Pen-y-fan Pond is always busy with walkers. Lots of people park up there for a stroll around the pond, but no one sort of makes it further into the countryside like I have today, even though, you know, within 2 minutes of being past Pen-y-fan Pond, I haven't seen a single person. So the footpath we failed to come up because it's completely overgrown actually comes up to here. So the first part of it looks absolutely fine, but presumably you'll get down to that bit where I got stuck from the other side, and don't know how far the overgrowth goes up. but luckily this next footpath has brought us along here nice and easy, and the next bit looks really straightforward as well. So there's the hill we're going to with the wind turbine on top. So this route's brought us quite a long way around, but we'll cross over and get up there now. Here we are, Mynydd Pen-y-fan, 409 metres and incredibly still today. I filmed this trig point before for the miners list, and that day it was absolutely howling wind. Today incredibly still and peaceful, so amazing views southwest. You can just about through the haze see the sea and Exmoor in the distance, and then down to some other nice hills. So you've got Mynydd Grug, you've got Mynydd Pen-y-fan, Mynydd Macen in the distance, then you've got Tumbalum, big sweeping ridgeway of Mynydd Men and Mynydd Pen-y-fan. Buzzard Way goes right the way across there, and Buzzard Way goes right the way across there as well. So it goes on the ridgeway across from us, and it does end up over there, which I think is Mynydd Pen-y-fan. That lump is an old spoil tip. I've wild camped there on my other channel. And then right up in the distance, maybe you can't see on the camera, but Cribbin, Pen-y-fan and Corn D. So the big Pen-y-fan here and the small little Mynydd Pen-y-fan, but it's like a directly south of the main peak. And you've got some really beautiful views over there, the various other hills. I think that's Pengan Bugal over there. And then some forested hills in the distance, which possibly Craigellyn and all the rest of it. But beautiful light in the distance now, and a really, really lovely little walk so far. Still about 6.4 miles to get here, and still not seeing a single person. This footpath here is well established. It's an old lane as well. So very, very pleasant, easy walking, but still not a soul has made it this far from Pen-y-fan Pond car park, which is probably more than a bit away, not very far at all. But yeah, it's just incredibly peaceful, and it's so still. It's really spooky. It's been a very hot and dry summer, but it has been quite breezy at times. So this is one of those days where it's just a stillness that you almost can't explain. It's incredibly quiet, and really enhances the solitude because there's just no sound apart from just the animals and the occasional bird song. So we're going to pick up this lane now and walk down through some really, really nice trees, back to a little bit of wooded area where we started the trail from, really, then back to the car. So it's not very much further, but I'll do a little bit more filming just to pick up some of the different views and stuff. But yeah, really good walk. This is probably about 7.5 miles when we're back at the car. So a decent loop. The ascent was pretty solid, but nothing spectacular. But obviously, as always, if you go to the walkingkev.co.uk, you will be to see my full route where I parked, all of the ascent and descent details and stuff, and the GPX route, which you can download as well. So if you are in South Wales and you want a quiet piece of walk with lots of different scenery, paths, and a little hill and a trig point, this is a really good walk. And yeah, not too strenuous, but plenty of different walking conditions to enjoy. Quite a lot of cows on this walk, but thankfully these are in a field behind a fence, and some really good views of the valleys opposite. So that big ridgeway, walked all of that on the Buzzard Way. The two little lumps over there where all the trees have been cut down, those are the hills surrounding the canyon and the Blue Lagoon. And then right the way across there where the sun is just hitting some of the open moorland is Mynydd Pen-y-fan, which also do on the Buzzard Way. So it's nice walking around this area, recognising those locations that I've walked, and obviously looking miles in the other direction, I can see the circle of the walk coming back down south and around to meet the starting point. Really love these old lanes for walking on. They're almost always passable in any kind of conditions. Often got nice big old trees next to them, and just normally connecting very peaceful parts of the valleys. That distinctive noise, if you heard that, is a green woodpecker. There's a pair of them just flying ahead from tree to tree. Quite rare these days, very skittish. No point trying to film them, even if they're my big lens and stuff, is you never get anywhere near them. But what a beautiful little last section of the walk. Just very, very pleasant and easy walking. I'm pretty much back at Pen-y-fan Pond now. I can just see the edge of the water, be walking around it doing their laps. So still not seeing a single soul. That last stretch was really, really pleasant. I walked that lane a couple of times, so I knew it would be a nice way to finish the walk. That's why I did it in that direction. Finish with a nice easy home straight. And it is a really, really good little part of the world, this. Lovely paths, lovely places, a lot of different wildlife as well. There's a lot of different birds today. So yeah, well worth a little nose if you're in this part of the world. But I'm going to end the video here. If you made it this far, a huge thanks for watching as always. Do take a look at some other videos. I'll have one up on the screen for you now. Yeah, if you want to see more of my videos, see more of my reviews of hiking gear and stuff, then do subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one.